Welcome to the main event.
Got you something from the liquor store, a little bit of Lizzo and some more. Trying to
reinvent the taco. Reinvent the taco. Reinvent the taco.
Here's something that's been bothering me for a little while. You can let me know if I'm off base or not. And also, this is a huge topic, so there'll be more than one video about this. Basically, there's a secret that a lot of people know, but for some reason is not widely distributed in the media. And that secret is that in order for life to be healthy, it has to be a little boring. I don't mean boring. I don't mean to the point where you're pacing the room and just trying to leave kind of boring. I mean boring in that there's stability, that you can have a routine, and you don't have to worry too much about your routine being disrupted. The reason why I say this is that it seems to me that for the last little while, everything has been so exciting. Between social media and 24-hour news and just everything on offer. For Americans, it seems as though there's some sort of sensory overload. And that might be because most of us live in cities now and things are happening physically. There's more people around, and so it's more naturally exciting. But this also takes place over the phone. Now, whether or not our day-to-day life actually is exciting, or we're simply told that things should be exciting, and we see exciting input coming in from our phone and TV, that's another story. But for us, what we experience seems to be constant excitement. And this isn't necessarily new. It's been going on for a while. Now, I remember this starting in news when OJ took that Bronco ride. And since then, it's been constant breaking news. Now, there is breaking news. Of course there's breaking news. 9/11 was breaking news. Katrina, that was breaking news too. But that doesn't happen all the time. And yet, when you look at CNN, when you look at MSNBC, when you even look at Russia Today or Fox News, you just see things going past all the time telling us that it's breaking news, breaking this, breaking that, and that's not what breaking news is. Now, maybe we got spoiled with the news of 9/11. Do you remember that morning? Do you remember how exciting it was? Obviously, it was terribly tragic, but the journalists were salivating. Everybody watching the news was just salivating at how exciting everything was. And since then, it just seems that we've always been on that level, like we never took it back. Now, obviously, this got pushed to 100 under the presidency of 45, because 45 kept things exciting all the time. There was always something to talk about with 45. And I feel over the past 20 years, especially after the presidency of 45, that we've just become desensitized to it. So that if there were actual breaking news that they had to break in and tell us, would we even understand how important that is? Would we even stop our day-to-day lives? That's what the news is supposed to give to us. It's information that will help us in our daily life. But if they tell us every day for the past 20 years that they have breaking news, will we even know when they do have breaking news? Is the news media like the boy who cried wolf? Now, this isn't just the news media. It's also other forms of entertainment. Now, if you watched my recent video on amusing ourselves to death, you'll say, but Maya, isn't news entertainment now? Technically it is, but I'm talking about legitimate entertainment. Entertainment that they say is supposed to be entertaining, like movies and television. For the past 20 years, it's been so larger than life. It's been $100 million tentpole action picks. Even what we binge watch is so exciting. Like Game of Thrones, that was expensive. Hundreds of millions of dollars were spent on Game of Thrones for people to sit home in their boxers and binge watch it. Binge watching a season of Game of Thrones is like sitting down and eating a 3-layer chocolate cake. It's supposed to be one slice of cake is enough. But we're getting to the point where we're sitting down and we're eating a 3-layer chocolate cake. We just have to ask ourselves, do we have too much? Do our cup overfloweth with excitement? Now, I only say this because I recently watched Wonder Woman. So boring. A movie like that 20 years ago would have been fantastic. It would have been exciting. All of the CGI and all of the effects and all of the action scenes, it would have been like, oh my God, this is an amazing film. But after 20 years of Transformers and G.I. Joe and all of these action movies, the Marvel universe, the DC universe, after 20 years of that, it's like, okay, this is all right. I fell asleep and then I woke up and Kristen Wiig is a cat. And I don't care that she's a cat, whatever. And that is because this level of excitement that we're used to is just unsustainable. We can't be excited like this all the time. And this is true for drugs as well. People develop a tolerance. We seem to be developing a tolerance to excitement. I'm not sure if this is a good thing. I think this actually might be a good thing so that the people who produce our content will have to dig a little bit deeper to tell a better story. Now, some of you argue that Wonder Woman 1984 was a particularly terrible movie, and you might be right. That's not the point, though. The point is, a movie of that caliber 20 years ago would still be impressive, but after all of what we've seen, it just isn't anymore. We're just like, Not to make this entire thing about Wonder Woman 1984, but it was a lazy story. And Hollywood may be assuming that if you throw enough excitement at the screen, people will care. And it seems as though we are pushing past that, we are moving beyond that enough excitement, however much it is just not going to grab our attention. We need story, and that's actually a good thing. Okay, Wonder Woman tangent over. We see this also in food.
Savory, sizzling, unexpected flavors. Like new milk and cookies.
Like our food is constantly sizzling on the TV. There's so many colors and there's so many flavors. And food science is a thing. Food science. A lot of people think food science is nutrition. They think it's the culinary arts. But there's also a field specifically for food science. Now, I understand about preserving foods so that we can have them later in an emergency. But I'm pretty sure we have eating covered. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Americans have figured out how to eat already. So maybe food science is a bit extreme. And what a lot of them are actually doing is figuring out a way to make foods, particularly fast foods, particularly junk foods, more addictive so that we binge more. So similar to the news, so similar to the entertainment. They want to make it so that we can't stop eating, so that we can't turn away. That's unhealthy behavior to binge food, to have something so addictive that we want to just have more and more and more. That's a drug. Now, of course, we should eat food that tastes good. But if we've gotten to the point where an apple or a banana no longer tastes good to us, we have to stop and think, is my tongue broken? We may have actually broken our tongues by eating too many good foods. I say good foods. We've gone from an apple being so tempting that it doomed all of humanity to people not even wanting to eat an apple anymore. Now you may say, Maya, this is more an example of human technology taking the place of nature than it is of the apple metaphor itself or the Garden of Eden. And that's really interesting because that could be the case. We may have replaced nature with our own cunning. And that is really the metaphor of no longer wanting to eat an apple. But for here, we're just going to leave it at apples taste good. Apples are supposed to taste good. Another example that I'm really not going to go too in depth on today, but is certainly a concern for many, is that some people have just gotten so addicted to pornography that they can't have a normal sex life anymore. Like a regular woman just doesn't do anything for them because they've taken it up to here. Like there's a video out of porn stars now watching porn from the 1980s, and they feel that they're saying that, oh, this is so romantic. This is so sweet. Because what's happening now, the point to all of this, the point to me saying anything at all, is that even though we're shown this in the media, even though we're shown this constant excitement in the media, that is a lie. A successful life is a boring life. It's routine. It's consistency. Ask anyone who's physically fit. I know people who are fit at 40 and 50, and you ask them, why are you this way? Why are you so healthy? And they'll say, I eat well and I exercise regularly. They eat healthy things. They usually eat the same thing over and over again, at least for breakfast or for lunch. It's kind of repetitive, actually. Same thing with their workout. Consistency. It's the same thing with a healthy relationship. There's not a lot of drama in a healthy relationship. They've probably been through a lot together. They've probably had a lot of bonding experiences in the past. But this couple, this healthy couple, is not going through drama on a day-to-day. They're not fighting constantly. So us being bombarded by excitement in the media is making us think that we're not leading fulfilling lives. It's making us think that we're missing out on something. And that's really not true. Maybe you've been lucky enough to be born to a billionaire. Congratulations, your life isn't boring. But if you had to work for anything at all, sorry, it's just repetitive. A really healthy life is a lot of boring things with the occasional spikes of excitement. And for those spikes of excitement, because they're not all good. Not all these spikes of excitement are good. Some of them are pretty bad. But having that boring, stable life to fall back on helps you prepare to deal with those spikes in excitement. A healthy relationship, for example. It's not just being on a yacht on Instagram. It's not traveling here and there. Maybe it is, sometimes. But for the most part, you're just having good conversation and doing chores together. That is a healthy relationship. Figuring out how to divide chores so that you both feel satisfied and not taken advantage of. And then being able to talk to each other. I don't know how you put that on Instagram, really. It's just that you can talk to the person that you're with and you enjoy their company and you do the dishes. No one ever does dishes on Instagram. I never see anyone doing any chores on Instagram or social media at all. It's like chores don't exist. Everyone does chores every day. I don't know why it's not in the media at all, except to sell us things to do more chores. But then who's doing the chores? I don't know. Don't worry. Everybody I know that you would consider successful still does some chores. Now, most importantly, having a good society is boring too, because having a good society is stability. It's people having jobs and going to work. It's people having families and taking care of their families. Like, that's not that exciting. Yes, we have to be aware of the news, but not 24/7. What is going on in the world 24/7? You need to be aware of it 24/7. Unless you work in news, you don't need 24/7 news. Most of us can get by with the PBS NewsHour. It's 1 hour a night. It's publicly funded. Every time you turn it on, you have to be reminded that Gwen Ifill died early. Why shouldn't you be reminded? The mortal coil is fleeting. Judy Woodruff is alone now, but she's alone giving you accurate news and information. That's what I got to say on the news. The news should be boring. My personal boring to exciting ratio is about 3-1. In my day-to-day, 3/4 of what I do is really boring. And I have a pretty exciting job. I see all of these legends of Black comedy, but even still, what I do is pretty boring. I am enjoying the show. I enjoy every moment of it, but it's a job. Maybe boring is the wrong word. I think to be content is the right word. To be content to do the work. It's fulfilling. I show up on time and I do the best job that I can. Now that one, you're asking, what is that one? You say 3 is work. What is the one? For me, that one is fitness. For a lot of people, they put that fitness into regular work and they include that in the necessities of daily life, so that wouldn't be for them. But for me personally, I find fitness to be so much fun, even though fitness itself is a lot of work. It is. For every 5 seconds of this, spinning video, there are hours of sit-ups. It's like you work really, 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 really hard so that you can have this much fun. Now, I'm only telling you this because it's the truth. A lot of people who are in LA, who are in the industry or whatever, are going to make it seem like their life is just a boat full of laughs. And maybe it is. Maybe there's someone's kid and they never had to work for anything. But I am not in that position. I actually have to show up on time and act right. Even people that you see out there living their dream are living their dream because of dedication, repetition, and a lot of hard work. Very few people are just discovered and plucked off the street and given a dream life. They got to work for it. Everybody I know that has something worked really hard to get it. Now, that having been said, if we get too tolerant of boring, then we're never going to advance. We're never going to grow. So we each have to find the excitement to boring ratio that fits us best. Just don't base yours on what you see on Instagram. Also, if you feel that you've been completely desensitized from too much time on social media, from too much time watching the news, to too much junk food, that's okay. You can get it back. Just take 2 minutes a day and just clear your mind. Just be okay with doing nothing, listening to nothing, watching nothing. Just close your eyes and be at one with yourself, just for 2 minutes to start. And then you can kind of get your baseline back so that you can figure out what you do find exciting. Well, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Let me know if I've left anything out, and I do want to make a follow-up video.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Subscribe.